What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Khabib disrespects Irish MMA fighters. Conor McGregor's beef with Khabib Nurmagomedov leading up to their fight back in 2018 sparked a fierce rivalry between Ireland and Dagestan. Later this month, Paul Hughes and Umar Nurmagomedov will create the next chapter in the rivalry when the two throw down for Bellator's lightweight title. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Ahead of the fight, Khabib Nurmagomedov spoke in a promotional video for the PFL about the level of fighters produced by Ireland and Dagestan. While he mentioned McGregor, whom he used to famously just refer to as this guy, and Paul Hughes as notable Irish fighters, the Hall of Famer was dismissive of the level of Irish MMA.
Ireland don't have fighters. Let's be honest. How many fighters you know from Ireland? Paul Hughes and Conor, and who else? There is no fighter. You can Dagestan, you can understand. You know, so many organizations, they don't even sign Dagestan fighters because they worry about like everybody can become champion, you know. But Dagestan, and let's be honest, Dagestan level of MMA here, but Ireland level, not even half of Dagestan level.
On top of Umar Nurmagomedov's fight with Paul Hughes later this month, Coach Khabib is currently training Umar Nurmagomedov and Islam Makhachev for their upcoming fights at UFC 311. In a recent video from Khabib's Instagram story, Makhachev was seen getting some conditioning work in with none other than Belal Muhammad, which is definitely a good sign for the welterweight champion as he looks to get back into the octagon in the new year after a brutal bone infection. UFC in deep negotiations for Conor McGregor versus Logan Paul. Ever since Conor McGregor said back in December that he was in talks to box Logan Paul in an exhibition in India, there have been tons of conflicting reports regarding the situation. Jake Paul called cap on the whole thing, while Chael Sonnen agreed, saying there was no truth to any rumors of a McGregor-Paul fight. According to an anonymous tip provided to Misfits Boxing, the UFC is actually involved in negotiations for a potential event, and there's an 80% chance that the fight winds up coming together.
So we spoke about the Conor McGregor fight rumors against Logan Paul, and we actually received a tip from an anonymous source stating there are deep negotiations for the fight. Conor is interested, so is Logan. They are targeting April of next year. The UFC are involved and in talks. It is all moving in the right direction, claiming it is 80% likely to happen.
As Ben the Bane Davis pointed out, the fact that the UFC is apparently on board with the rumors is a good sign, considering McGregor's contract would be the biggest hurdle to a potential exhibition bout. In an interview with MMA Fighting, Eddie Alvarez said that if McGregor does try to get out of his UFC contract to box Logan Paul, chances are he'll be in for a rough time. Realistically, I think he still has 2 fights left on his UFC contract. I know how difficult it is, especially when you're that valuable to a company. I haven't been as valuable as Conor, but back when I was basically Bellator's main guy, I know how difficult it is to get out of those contracts. They don't make it easy. Given that the UFC does not want McGregor hitting free agency and being scooped up by a rival, or signing a deal to box in Saudi Arabia, some members of the MMA world have theorized that the UFC is trying to ice him out by keeping him out of the octagon. UFC Updates. The UFC's wasted no time booking fights for the new year. This week, the promotion reportedly added 4 new fights to the UFC 313 card at the beginning of March. The pay-per-view card will see Myron Santos and Francis Marshall throw down at 145. Wang Kong and Bruna Brazil throw down at 125. Alex Morono and Carlos Leal throw down at 170. And Ozzy Diaz will throw down with Jordan Santos at 205. In the Santos-Marshall fight, Myron Santos will be looking to build momentum on his Ultimate Fighter win back in August, while Francis Marshall will look to build on a split decision victory over Denis Bezukia this summer. In the Wang Kong-Bruna Brazil fight, the Joker is fresh off the first loss of a pro career back in November at the hands of Gabriela Fernandez, while on the flip side, Bruna Brazil will be looking to make it 2 in a row after a win over Meatball Molly McCann in July. At welterweight, there's a good chance that Alex Morono is heading into this fight with his back against the wall after losing 2 in a row and 3 of his last 5. Meanwhile, his opponent, Carlos Leal, is coming off a loss in his UFC debut at the hands of Rinat Fakhretdinov back in October and is eager to pick up his first victory inside the octagon. Last but not least, the Diaz-Santos fight will see Ozzy Diaz look to bounce back from a first-round loss to Mingyang Zhang in his UFC debut. while Jordan Santos looks to build on a Contender Series win back in September. Michael Chandler has all the tools to become UFC champion. Michael Chandler's latest loss to Charles Oliveira dropped the former Bellator champ to 2-4 in the octagon and saw him fall to number 7 on the UFC's rankings. Despite that, and the fact that Chandler's championship window seems to be closing, Eddie Alvarez thinks that he has all the tools to be a UFC champion if he just tweaked his fighting style to better suit his strengths. During an interview with MMA Junkie, Alvarez weighed in, saying that it's frustrating to watch Chandler, knowing what he's capable of when he's on. I think he has all the tools to win the UFC title. It's a matter of whether he uses the tools he has, and I don't think he has properly. I don't know why. It's very frustrating for me to watch because I know what he's capable of and what kind of grit and champion spirit he has. I think it's more of him tweaking the way he fights and using his weapons that he has. He just doesn't use them. And it's frustrating for me to watch, to be honest with you. I think it's frustrating for a lot of people who are fans of him, who want him to win. He doesn't use his wrestling at all, and it's very dominant. He's a very strong guy. While nothing's been confirmed yet, there have been rumors that Chandler and Paddy the Baddy might be on a collision course for the London card. MMA community reacts to Nina Drama quitting UFC. In 2025, MMA fans might see less of Nina Drama as the creator and media personality broadens her horizons. In a post on social media on Wednesday, Nina Drama announced that she would be covering other sports and doing celebrity interviews, and because of that, MMA fans might see less of her. Y'all think MMA Twitter will miss me if I stop making UFC content or not? 2025, I'll be covering other sports plus celebrity interviews, so you might see me less. The MMA community was quick to weigh in on the situation after Nina won the Personality of the Year award at the World MMA Awards this year, with one fan writing, "Her downfall needs to be studied." Another added, "No, honestly, we were just about done with you anyway." One member of the MMA community agreed, "No, those of us who are not starved simps won't. I enjoy the content of interviewing fighters in a unique way, not cringy posts like this. Act your age." Some fans were not surprised by the news. Wow, classic, blow up on MMA Twitter, and then move on to the more attractive date celebrities, shaking my effing head. Others were not feeling the news. You could have the market cornered on being a cute chick who does silly interviews in an attempt to elevate the people outside of their chosen industry. Instead, you're trying to make yourself the center of attention, and that won't work because it's dull, disposable, and there will always be a younger model. One fan was over the whole thing and accused her of baiting for engagement. "I can't imagine not having this much awareness to get on for every post you've done like this over the last few days just to keep making the videos. Is negative engagement better than no engagement?" Another joked, "MMA Twitter is praying to God that you make less UFC content." One posted a gif of Tank Davis with "Close the door behind you." Whether or not Nina was trolling, only time will tell. Concerns rise for Umar versus Merab at UFC 311. Heading into UFC 311, there was some concern that maybe Merab Dvalishvili was nursing an injury after he said that he was trying to get into the UFC PI to get some work done on an injury. But now, the shoe's on the other foot, and there's some concern about Umar Nurmagomedov's status for the fight. In an interview with Brett Okamoto that was posted to the UFC's YouTube channel and has since been taken down, Umar was asked about a post from back in November where he wrote that he had an arm fracture that would keep him from fighting in January. In response, Umar said that he had an x-ray done that showed a broken bone, but when he got it checked out again a couple of weeks later, he was given a clean bill of health. They did x-ray and they said you broke. You know, after that, after 20 days, I go again. Even when I was broken, I was running. I want to still be in shape. Even at that time, I going to try to run. I try to do shadow boxing, try to be in shape. And after 20 days, I go again and it's become much better. The whole exchange didn't sit well with one MMA creator, Truthful UFC fan, who pointed out that when Nurmagomedov was asked about the injury, he seemed to become physically uncomfortable. In response, another fan pointed out that ESPN pulled the McGregor-Chandler interview before it was announced that the fight was off, suggesting that where there's smoke, there's fire. With the Dvalishvili-Nurmagomedov fight right around the corner, hopefully the first pay-per-view card of the year isn't hit with a last-minute withdrawal.
For the entertainment of the fans and the love of the sport, bro. And whenever I'm successful, you know what I mean, and another fighter, you know what I mean, I get a knockout and I have these moments that y'all like, bro, don't use that time to dog somebody, bro. You know what I mean? I've lost. So I've received, you know what I mean, the ridicule and the things that come with that. You know what I mean? And I understand that people are ignorant, but I can only imagine how y'all doing my mans right now, bro. And that shit ain't cool, bro. That shit ain't cool. Think about if that was you. Think about if that was your kid. You know what I mean? Your brother, your mother, your father. You know what I'm saying? Come on, bro. At some point, we got to draw the line, bro. Where's the line at, bro? Where do we still be able to come out and look each other in the face? You know what I mean? and still be people. You know what I mean? He got knocked out. It happens. People have been knocked out many times before. And most of you just talking will never put yourself in a position. You run like a little. You hide in the house. I done seen y'all before. Y'all cowards, bro. So for y'all to sit there and do this to this man who steps out against the best in the world, you know what I'm saying? People who train night and day to do that. Y'all run from basic people. Cut it out. Cowards. You know what I mean? Sitting behind the screen talking. Get out that man inbox. He's still eating. He still got money. You probably broke sitting in your mom's basement. Bro. Hey, if you a fan of mine, you came to my page to see me do that, to see me win, and for you to go and dog people, get the on, bro. Because I don't with that, bro. Leave that man alone. Let him get back to his drawing board, get back to his craft, because y'all gonna keep watching for him putting his body and all of that on the line. Weak, bro. Cut that shit out, bro.